this module, we'll be looking at how to manage a crush injury. A crush injury occurs when a body or a body part is trapped, pinched or jammed under or between objects.
Dad!
The pressure can harm skin, muscles, nerves or bone, depending on the degree of force.
Dad!
Traumatic amputation or partial amputation occurs if enough force is applied.
Dad! Dad!
Help! Help!
Check for the person's response. Check their airway and if they're breathing. If they're not responding and not breathing, commence CPR or bleeding control.
Call 000.
Control the bleeding by applying direct pressure to the wound. If bleeding continues, recheck the source of the bleeding and reapply direct pressure. Raise the injured area. If the person has a life-threatening bleed, a tourniquet may be required. Tourniquets are used when all other options to stop bleeding have failed. The goal of a tourniquet is to restrict the blood flow to the injured limb and prevent life-threatening blood loss. It's only intended as a stopgap measure to buy you time while you wait for emergency services to arrive. Position the tourniquet several inches above the injury, closest to the heart. Never place the tourniquet directly on the joint, as this can cause permanent nerve, joint or blood vessel injury. Tighten the tourniquet around the limb by twisting the windlass. Keep an eye on the bleeding and take note of when it starts to slow. Continue twisting until the bleeding has stopped or significantly reduced. Tourniquets cannot be applied for longer than 2 hours. Make note of the time that you put the tourniquet on. A tourniquet should never be loosened or removed by anyone other than a healthcare provider in the emergency department. Do not place a tourniquet unless the bleeding is life-threatening, as the entire limb may be harmed. If part of the body remains trapped or pinned, the first aid of a crush injury requires careful assessment. If the area has been compressed for a long time, it might be best to wait for emergency services to arrive or seek advice when you call 000 before you remove the crushing weight. This might be because a tourniquet or intravenous fluids is needed before the weight is released. However, if the weight is on the head, chest, neck or abdomen and is not removed, the person may die from respiratory failure, heart failure or blood loss. Even if it's not immediately apparent that they've been badly injured, there could be internal injuries and rapid deterioration can occur.